Welcome to another installment of Taylor Newsbreak. I'm your host, Carl Zymak. Today we're going to discuss the newest addition to the Taylor Police, namely the stationary energy efficient cameras recently approved for purchase. And that's a program that's building as we speak, to be honest with you. Today with us, Police Chief John Blair, Jeff Admonison, both with us from the Taylor Police. Chief, welcome to the show. Jeff, welcome to the show. Tell us about the new Flock program. Who wants to start?
Well, I can give you a rundown, Carl.
Okay, you're going to give us the general rundown?
Yeah, I want to say Merry Christmas.
Oh, you're going to start with
even
Merry
my people
Christmas?
behind the scenes
You know,
as well.
I was going to, you're going to say that to the elves?
I love those elves. They're nice
the
elves.
little elves, yeah.
So Merry Christmas,
Sam and
everyone.
Joey.
Merry Christmas.
Sammy and Joey are two elves. They're back there doing their thing on the TriCaster.
Yeah.
So okay, Flock program. Where do you want to start?
You know, probably one of the more simple yet innovative products I've seen come out in law enforcement since I've been working for the city for 30 plus years. Just a great simple concept of a stationary camera that requires no maintenance. Again, solar powered, and it tracks license plates. And we can use that to track people's activities. If they're criminals, we can look for missing cars, we can look for stolen vehicles. Just incredibly innovative, and we're really excited about what it's going to bring to our department.
Fantastic. Jeff, this system kind of fits with a lot of the other things you're doing, correct?
Absolutely. Over the last year or so, we've really brought up technology to the department. We've upgraded just about every aspect of the department as far as the vehicles, the camera systems. We recently, I think it was last year, purchased a multi-year extension with Axon, bringing the X-Area drones, the new body cameras, new fleet cameras, and the Flock is great because it integrates all that. So it's seamless. Instead of having multi-vendors, we have everything that talks to each other.
John, how many cameras are we talking about?
Well, right now we have 30 that were purchased by the city. 20 that were purchased by the city, and the Tifa Business District came forward with 30. They approved 30 yesterday. So
yeah, that was just last night.
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. So we're hoping to extend this program out to the business districts themselves, or even private subdivisions, HOAs, to see if they're interested in installing these cameras.
Okay, where are they going to be located, guys?
Well, strategically throughout the city, we've identified obviously our main business districts in areas of high traffic or areas that we feel that we can monitor the most amount of vehicles coming into the city.
Now, Jeff, these are truly energy efficient cameras. Can you?
Absolutely. So they have large solar panels attached to these. They have winter batteries on them right now. Flock has two different types of battery. So the winter battery is just more insulated battery. It protects against the cold. During the winter months, the solar panels aren't as efficient, so they're not charging as much. So at any time, we have a maintenance agreement with Flock. If the battery ever dies for any reason, they'll come out and fix it right away.
Fantastic.
So I mean, it's a no-brainer. The cameras are reading constantly. Just in the short period of time that we've had cameras up, we've had over 200,000 reads, plate reads.
That's fantastic.
So it's impressive what it's doing.
Now, Chief, you were telling me before we got on the air here, you've had some big wins already on this. Can you describe?
Yeah, absolutely, Carl. I mean, interestingly enough, just before we walked into the studio, we had a stolen vehicle plate that was hit on. So the first day we were installing them a couple of weeks ago, we had a hit of a vehicle that was wanted in a shooting in the city of Inkster. So reaping rewards already on them. It's helping us track what's going on in the city, and it's going to make it safer for everybody.
And this is all going to be a three-step program. You've gone essentially the first two steps. Although, will you be doubling back on those steps, going back to the city for maybe additional, and back to Tifa for possibly additional, or how do you think the attack plan will go?
I think right now we're it's kind of like you said, it's that three-pronged approach. When we upgrade technology in the cars or the new cameras, they're built in with LPRs. So now we're getting reads from every squad car that's out there. Now we're getting reads from the 20 from the city, and then we'll be getting them from the business district. So we want to develop a partnership with our apartment complexes, condos, HOAs, and bigger businesses. And once they buy those, they give us access to them. Then we can action the information that comes across those cameras.
Chief, I remember listening to you in front of council when you put this up to them for approval. You made it very, very clear that this is just a mainly a surveillance, almost after the fact issue. It's not a facial recognition. You want to get into that a little bit?
No, absolutely. It does not track people.
Okay.
This is strictly vehicles. It does read lights, hence the name license plate readers. But we can also enter in partial descriptions. For example, if I had, let's say, a white dually pickup truck that was wanted for something, we could enter that into the system, and the data would be scanned by these flock cameras, and they could point us out to vehicles that match, which would in turn hopefully present us with a license plate, which would in turn lend us to a person who was causing problems. So really unique stuff.
And you said to council that 80% of
Yeah.
crimes are related to vehicles in subway shootings?
Yeah, that's correct. Approximately 80% of all criminals use vehicles to facilitate their criminal activities. So everybody understands everyone's on the road one way or the other.
Jeff, who else in the immediate area uses this type of program?
So most of our surrounding cities utilize some flock cameras. I think we have the largest amount of flock cameras deployed once everything's up and running. But Lincoln Park, Allen Park, Dearborn Heights.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much surrounded. That's why we went with Flock, because Flock has such a big footprint in Michigan. So it makes sense if all our partners have it, let's get on the same system so we all can communicate. So just by doing that, I have access to almost 600 cameras throughout just Michigan.
It's kind of amazing.
So so if I enter one plate, or if we're looking for a car, I enter that, and all those surrounding departments are able to get that information.
When did you hire in, Jeff?
2001.
2001. When did you hire in, Jeff?
I'm a 91 guy.
You're a 91
91
guy,
guy,
yes.
so yeah.
When those classes were really big.
Yeah, things are definitely different. But
Did you guys ever imagine you'd be looking at this type of activity?
No.
He probably
Yeah.
never in 91.
no, Carl, you have to remember when I came on, we had the wheel guns, revolvers, and shortly after I got on, we switched over to semi-autos. There were bag phones. Some people might not even know what a bag phone is, but the internet was just kicking off. So yeah, technology is dramatically improved, and we're trying to utilize it the best we can to keep everybody safe. And I think these flock cameras are at 4,500 communities throughout the country. About 50 here in the state of Michigan already using them. Southfield Freeway is going to be lined up with them.
Yeah, you use that example that the entire Southfield Freeway from Allen Park all the way to city of Southfield is going to be observed by these.
Absolutely,
Yeah, which is fabulous. That's amazing. Recent investments, body cams, car cams, drones. Now these have really taken policing to an entirely different level. I know you are really into technology and really into the drone program. Can you address that?
So every time I look for new technology for the police department, I go back to when I was on the road. What could have helped me do this or do this better? And that's why I keep shopping for this technology, and I see it, and I'll do research on it, and then I present it to the chief. This is why we need this, and this is why it'll be beneficial. So it's exciting to see the guys go, wow, this is really cool, this will really help. Like we were doing research with property crimes. There's 7 million property crimes a year, and 80% of them go unsolved because we don't have license plates.
Yeah.
So I mean, just example of them all. If something's broke into, but they have a vague description of a white car, we pull up those flock cameras in that area at that time, and we can narrow down that search really quick.
Do any of the surveys and the research that you guys do any of them address you line up all this technology behind a given officer, a given patrolman? What's the percentage of efficiency that goes up with that particular body?
We used to have to handwrite police reports.
Okay.
With our new Axon system, you're able to hold a driver's license in front of your body camera, and it self-populates the information.
Really?
We're probably 12 months away from talk to text, where
Okay.
officers will just speak.
Okay.
They will listen to the person we're talking to, and it dictates that into an incident report for us. So, yeah, incredible efficiency, but also transparency. We talk about that a lot. People are very concerned about police officers overstepping their bounds. I share that concern, and I think these body cameras and technology are going to keep not only the people behaving on the outside, but keep your officers in a professional manner.
Well, you emphasized that to me a few years ago when we talked body cams, because you were saying this is a two-way street.
Absolutely.
When the person out there knows that the person they're talking to has a body cam on, everybody acts a little differently.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah, we found that to be 100% consistent.
There's
So
another, with flock cameras, they worked with the ACLU. ACLU came out with a report that said these are the things that you should watch for if you're developing a LPR system. So Flock adopted their policies. So no facial recognition, not used for traffic enforcement, short retention time. So we're not storing this information. We're not selling the information gathered, or Flock doesn't sell the information gathered to third parties. So, I mean, we're providing that, and then we're going to activate a transparency portal on the city website, so people can see how many plates we're running. They're not going to get the information; they'll see who we share information with, like other departments, how many plates we're doing, how successful we're doing. So everybody has a stake in it. That's all.
how quickly do you purge that information?
it lasts about 30 days.
About 30 days.
30 days, yeah.
Okay.
Flock automatically purges it unless we save it for evidence. If if it was involved in a crime, we click on it, we transfer it to evidence.com, which is our Axon platform.
Okay. What about, you said before we got on the set here, you were telling me that some of this is already active, okay? How many of these sites are active?
Well, currently we have 14 cameras that are operating here in the city of Taylor.
All right.
All of them are not up because there's permit issues. If it's on a county road or something, we have to get a permit to put up a pole to put up the camera. So Wayne County's very aware of it. The state's very aware of the program, but there is a licensing and permit process that we have to go through. Just because we're police doesn't mean we get to do whatever we want.
Do you ever anticipate that this system, a system like this, would get so affordable that it would go all the way down to a residence? Say I just lived on, Breast Street or something, and I wanted to get this myself to protect my property or to.
Like I said, they're already doing HOAs, so you have the larger subdivisions. It's a private residence. If they can afford it, they'll sell them to them. That would be an ordinance issue, possibly with the city as far as that. But I mean, they are affordable compared to other options. The other options are very expensive.
Well, I'll put it to you a different way, Carl. I've read statistics that crime costs about $1.6 trillion to the American economy.
Right.
1.6 trillion a year. If cameras can prevent these crimes and stop the damage, the theft, the violence that's brought forward, it's well worth any penny that we could possibly spend. It's $2,500 a camera. That's not a ridiculous price. People spend, I know people that spend that much on cable TV every year. So,
Hey, given the rate of inflation in the current economy, we may be sending you to Congress the way you're talking.
we want a professional department for everybody, and we want to create a safe environment, and this helps us do that.
Anything else we're missing when we're talking about these new cameras and this new system?
It's going to give a huge tool to the detective bureau just to be able to solve cases, be more effective, and just produce better results.
Have you seen any drawbacks to the new technology that you've implemented so far?
So far, no. I mean, right now we're very impressed. I mean, the new Tahoes, they're working out great. They're a great improvement. The guys love them. They're safer. The new Axon systems, everything is working great. We're going to be coming forward with more virtual reality training for the officers with the tasers and firearms. It's all virtual reality. So the officers are going to get to be engaged in these scenarios without having us, do anything extra. They'll be able to sit in the squad room and do these scenarios. So it's just a lot more training.
Yeah, there's a little apprehension we get from the community at times when you don't understand technology and how it's going to be used. I think that does create apprehension. This is not for traffic enforcement. We're not sending you tickets.
Gotcha.
We're not trying to track people. We're looking for cars that are wanted to help people out. That's all.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense to me. We'd be remiss if we didn't get into your new hiring program. We try to pound that drum
Yes.
every time we get you on here. It seems to be really making a difference, okay, in many ways, and it's not just numerically here. Your department seems to be getting more diversified, things like that. What's your impression?
Well, the mayor and city council really stepped up. They saw a need. Throughout the entire country, everyone's hurting to hire police officers. Frankly, for a couple of years, we took a little bit of abuse, and some of it was deserved, and not many people wanted to come into this profession, and many left. So they stepped forward. They watched and mirrored what other communities were doing. They raised up some of our wages and benefits, and that in turn made this place a much more attractive place to work. So I think without their help, we'd probably be in a whole world of hurt. So I'm looking forward to continuing down this path and growing the department back where we belong, and hopefully keep your fingers crossed that'll happen.
When you talk about predictions and goals, you know, I've heard so many different numbers when it comes to badged officers.
Yeah.
What's our goal now?
Well, I was 106
At one
when
time.
I was,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Oh.
to get to that point, I think that might be a pipe dream, but you know, I think we belong in the low 90s.
Okay.
You know, we're our current levels. It's very difficult to be proactive. We tend to be much more reactive and rely upon all this technology to help us out. But putting boots on the ground, just as any type of situation, is going to make a big difference.
Certain amount of churn too that goes on in a department like this, and to effectively handle that churn, your number does maybe it has to be pushed a little higher.
Yeah.
You know, versus okay, we can get it done with this many, but when you look at the churn, it's never that many.
No.
It ends up down here somewhere,
Yeah.
which is frustrating. But
Well, absolutely. So, you know, it seems it's just we never catch up. You know, I mean, when we start getting up there, then we have retirements. So I mean, it's just a constant hiring process. We need to get the numbers up.
you guys got to be happy that you're also bringing in some veteran officers for a change.
Yeah.
It's not just young people.
Yeah, what people don't understand, police work, it takes about 5 years to really truly know what you're doing. No one has a 5-year police academy. I know people see officers make terrible mistakes, the videos, and much of that is inexperience. And if you haven't, you know, tried to overdo it with training and really work with these officers, this is what we have happen. But if you bring someone that's got 5 years experience already, they've gone through that learning curve and they're way ahead of the game. And I think we get a much more professional, efficient product officer.
We're headed into the holiday season. We're recording this in early December. Any key advice that you'd give residents to make sure it's a happy holiday
Yes.
and a happy New Year? Anything key you want to throw out there?
Yeah. Keep your head up when you're out and observe things.
Okay.
Trust your instincts. I say it all the time. If something doesn't feel right, trust that instinct. You know, stay off your phone. Put the phone down. Slow down in this weather.
Yeah.
Lock your
Patience.
doors. Patience
Patience.
is great.
Patience.
Yeah.
Yes. Lock
Yes.
your doors. You know, turn on the outside lights.
Right.
Help yourself.
It is
You know,
amazing, you know, when we, you know, we've gone through Taylor on Watch and different machinations. Now you're into, you know, the Cop on the Corner program and those kind of things. It is amazing that people do not realize that if you just turn on your exterior lights at night, you know, a large percentage of criminal activity just goes away.
And criminals want to operate in the dark.
Yeah, they do.
That's the truth.
Absolutely.
Simple.
Yeah. Just like we do with the media side.
Must be people behind the screen. That's
Well, yeah, okay, we're going to start picking on them as soon as we exit here, right? Right,
Absolutely.
the elves are doing a
Okay,
great
all right.
job.
Did you bring the tasers?
We can go grab one real quick.
All right, Chief Blair, Jeff, John, happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to
Same
both
to
of you
you.
guys. For Samantha Rickard and Joe Camilleri, our Christmas elves behind the scenes, I'm Carl Zymak. I want you to have a good day, and don't forget to join us on the next Taylor News Break. We'll be watching you, right? At least your car.
Yes, one way or the other.